Hi everyone, today we're going to make some high protein bread. It's going to be perfect for carnivore and more specifically beef butter, bacon and eggs. I'm Anita from KetogenicWoman.com, where I share keto and carnivore recipes and other cooking ideas. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you check out some of my other videos. For those of you coming back, so happy you're here. I hope you enjoy today's video. Okay, so I'm going to make protein bread. It's kind of a hybrid of protein sparing modified fast bread, but I've tweaked it for beef butter, bacon, and eggs. Because you can't really have too many ingredients on that. This bread is going to be very bare bones. However, it is one of the better breads that I've made. So I'm really actually happy with it, and I think this will be my go-to going forward, depending on what I want to do. So where it came from was I started to do the beef butter, bacon, and egg just a week or so ago. It's going great. A lot of people are looking for how you can have the breads on that. I mean, there's all kinds of different bread recipes out there. But as you know, it kind of has graduated or evolved from being just egg white powder and egg whites. It's now got like 10, 12 ingredients sometimes. And not all those ingredients are okay for carnivore. So I have brought it right back to the beginning and added just a couple of tiny tweaks that are, I think, really good. Like I kind of went back to my Italian bread, which was my favorite bread, and thought about what made that bread my favorite bread. And it was the softness and the texture. I mean, the Italian seasonings were great. However, this bread is really good. I'm going to show it to you, and then we're going to make it. So I made this a couple of days ago, and it's not as brown because there's no allulose in this bread, but I'll show you what I do to the top. It is soft and fluffy. It has shrunk just a little bit, not as much as some of the things I've made have shrunk. So I have hope for this, but it is super soft and it is not moist. This is, like I said, I made this a couple of days ago. The top is still okay. It's not all weird. I think you're gonna like this bread, and I think you're gonna be surprised at how the ingredients just have sort of come together to make it soft enough and to make it good for carnivore and beef butter, bacon, and egg. So I'll just put that aside. So I will have the recipe below. I'm going to do 6 eggs, and I'm going to separate them first. Also in this bread is going to be some kind of bone broth powder, and I'll go over your options when we get there. Egg white powder is going to be in here, so I'll get that over here. Salt, and just a little tiny bit of cream of tartar. In fact, I think the next loaf I'm just going to leave it out and see if it works without it. Without that, it's 100% compliant with carnivore / BBBE. So let's see how this goes. First, I'm going to separate the egg whites from the yolks, and I'm going to keep 3 yolks for later. Okay, I'm going to put the yolks in this white bowl and the egg whites in the big bowl, the mixing bowl. Okay, we have our 6 egg yolks and 6 egg whites in there. I'm going to just set these aside for a few minutes. We're only going to use 3 of the yolks, so you can use the others to put in your scrambled eggs or make some hollandaise sauce or make some egg yolk muffins or something. Now I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients together. So I'm going to use 42 grams of egg white powder, and I really do suggest that you weigh it. I think it just works out better that way. It's always consistent then. Okay, so that's 42 grams of the egg white powder. And I'm going to put in bone broth powder. So let's talk about the bone broth for a moment. You can use any type of bone broth, but if it has any fat in it, you'll have to put it in at the end. This one, beef bone broth from Now Sports, it says it's 0 grams of fat. So I'm going to put it in now with my egg white powder. I have another one that I used in fact, I used it in the Italian loaf. It's the Organica bone broth powder. That one does have fat in it. So, oh, there goes the oven. The oven is set to 325.
Always makes me want to dance.
Okay, it's done. Okay, so no fat. It's okay to add it in there. So the other option is keto chow. You could use beef soup base and use half the package or half a scoop, which would turn out to be about 21 grams, 21 grams. So weigh, you know, if you're using packets, well, if you're using scoops too, those scoops don't fill up properly sometimes. Weigh it out and get 20 grams of the beef soup base. That'll work. This works, 30 grams. And I'll have these measurements below or in a link on my website, either way. And then the Organica, same thing. Unfortunately, I don't have the can here in front of me because it's packed away. I've packed almost about 90% of my kitchen stuff for moving, and I only kept out the essentials, and I didn't think I would need that, but it's packed away. But I think it is also going to be about 20 or 25 grams, something like that. And I'll figure that out and update the post. So in today's, I'm going to use just regular beef bone broth powder. It's delicious with the keto chow, by the way, if you've got that. So I'm going to use, it's also delicious with this. This one that I made, this one has this in it. So we're going to do 30 grams. And one scoop should be 30 grams, but sometimes there's gaps in there. And that is 30 grams. Oh, 29, it just changed. Haha, of course it did. Okay. And I'm going to put in some salt. A quarter teaspoon. Redmond's fine salt. And a quarter teaspoon of cream of tartar. And I usually do like a heaping quarter teaspoon. Okay, I'm going to stir that up. And yes, I'm going to mix it all in here. I'm not whipping up the egg whites first. I'm done with that. I like just mixing it all together. And I'm going to kind of stir it in so that it doesn't poof up when I start the mixer. Actually, I should have used this. I've done that before because it's going to stick here. It is sticky stuff. All right, I'm going to mix this. I'm going to just stir for a bit and then I'm going to let it go for a good 5 minutes. And it should be nice and fluffy. Okay, I don't know if it's been 5 minutes, but it looks like it's ready. So I'm going to now put 3 egg yolks in, and I'm just going to, you know, drop one in at a time and let it slowly incorporate before I add the next one. All right. And I'm gonna squish all that into this pan. So this is not a full-size loaf pan, just so you know. You can double this recipe and make one of those really big loaf pans. This one is, I believe it's 4 by 8. It's what I would call a small loaf pan. But it's the right size for me because I'm pretty much the only one that's eating this bread now. So if I made one of those big ones, then that would be too much. So one thing you want to do is when you put the first bit of this dough in here, is try to squish it down. I am getting better at not having air pockets, but in the beginning when I was first making this bread, so this bread kind of evolved from the original protein sparing bread. It's just made with egg whites and egg white powder, and I think maybe that was it. Maybe some cream of tartar, I can't remember. That came from Maria Emmerich's site. And then it's been tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked, and all kinds of wonderful things made from it. And there's all kinds of, kind of egg white breads out there now they're all really good, but they have lots of ingredients. So I'm trying to get back to not having lots of ingredients. I'm trying to get back to a very basic bread so that the carnivores can eat it too, and the BBBE people.
I'm never sure if I say enough BBBs in there.
I just keep kind of putting it down. So what really makes the bread soft and have that bread feel to it, I feel, is the two things: putting in the egg yolks and putting in the bone broth powder. It just gives it a whole new texture, because I can't eat the way with just the egg whites and the egg white powder. I can't do it. It's I don't know. I can't seem to get it to where it tastes good to me. So, but this does. I really like this.
And it's good to sop up your eggs if you like to have dippy eggs, scrambled egg sandwich, a shaved beef sandwich, make beef dip.
It just kind of opens up your options for carnivore. So I'm going to let this go for about 20-25 minutes. And then I'm going to, I only need I put 2 tablespoons of butter here.
I'm going to put one back.
I thought I was making the double recipe, but I'm going to coat it with some butter when it comes out of the oven and then put it back in. And that makes a nice brown crust because we're not using allulose, and the allulose, it's not as brown as with allulose, but it's nice. It works. Okay, so there we go. It's going in. I'll check it at 20 minutes and I'll see you back here then. Watch out, Teddy, I'm going to open up the warm oven. All right, I know it looks huge now, but it will shrink. I'm going to baste it with a tablespoon of butter, and then I'm going to put it back in. Get the top to brown a little bit. No, it's not ready. Not for doggies. And I'm just going to put just a little bit of seasoning salt on top so that the crust is kind of tasty. Open it up to a bigger hole. Hang on. All right, it's going back in for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the oven off and let it sit in there for 20 minutes. So I will see you back in the next segment. Okay, so we're back with our loaf of bread. I'm actually really happy with the nice browning that we got from brushing on a little bit of butter. Just want to talk about macros before I cut it. So I'm going to try to get 12 slices. I did get 12 slices out of the other one. Each slice is 54 calories, 2.1 grams of fat, 7.6 grams of protein, and 0.6 total carbs, and 0.6 net carbs. So, you know, not bad for a keto bread. I'm just going to try to get it out. Oh, it's coming away nicely. So a little bit of caving in at the bottom there. And we did get quite a bit of overhang, but all in all, it's not a bad looking loaf. So let me see here. Okay, so my favorite part of the loaf, oh, this is what I had sprinkled on it, is Redmond real salt seasoning. But let's take a look at the texture of the bread. So it's soft. It when you press your finger in, it kind of stays. It's moist but not wet. And the top tastes good. Salt and butter will do that. Anyways, it's not like the first time I tried the protein sparing bread and started running around looking for water. So I'm pretty happy with it. I've been making this bread a couple times a week. Let me finish eating this before I talk. I've been making this bread a couple times a week. It toasts nice and evenly. It's good for anything. You know, I mean, you could use it on regular keto, low carb, but specifically, there's only 4 ingredients. There's eggs, there's egg white powder, salt, and protein powder.
That's it.
And the protein powder that I used has 1 ingredient, and that was bone broth powder.
That's it.
No other ingredients. So it's a nice clean bread with carnivore ingredients, and it tastes good, and I'm happy with it. So I hope you give it a try, especially if you're doing beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, or if you're new to carnivore. Give this a try. It could very well help you get through. Probably will try to bake it for an extra 5 minutes next time to get just a little more height out of it. But other than that, it's great. We'll see you on the next video.
So happy that you're back, and I hope you... Start from the beginning. Please check out some of my other videos. A light just went out. I have a cracked egg in my hand. Where's my... Oops. I want my bowl. 20 minutes, 20, 25 minutes, 20